okay, so I'm a massive Gunners fan. I've actually got Chinese Democracy signed by Axl
nice.
Rose.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
I got it in San Francisco. But anyway, so my wife and I went down when she was pregnant, and it was so loud. But it was with like when Axl Rose just had a band that wasn't Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
And so it was getting towards the end of the set, and she's like, oh, I'm actually feeling like I'm having contractions. And I'm like, just hang on, Paradise City's the last song.
Hello, guys, and welcome to this episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional, or Story Chat, as we like to call it. We have a wonderful Australian guest this time. I know we like to talk to people from overseas, but this time we're close to our shores. But before we bring him in, this episode is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells and the Rising Dawn series. Check it out on Amazon if werewolf romance is your thing. And characters modelled off Henry Cavill. Well, Jason Matheson, how are we?
There you go, mate. Yeah, good. Just clocked off from week 8 of school. There's only 2 weeks left. Everything's falling apart. The threads are starting to unwind. Kids are going nuts. It's good. It's great.
Fantastic. How are you going, Ryan?
I'm going good, mate. Good. Just another day, living the dream, you know?
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Well,
Not much more I can tell you.
Well, Jason, for those that may not know, who is Jason Matheson?
Jason Matheson is a husband and a father of 3 boys. 2 of them have finished school. One of them's in year 10. He actually went down and checked out a nuclear reactor in Sydney somewhere because he wants to do that sort of thing when he gets older. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. See, watching The Simpsons pays off. What else? Oh, and I got a dog called Charlie and a cat called Mary. And I work as a teacher and I'm a librarian at a school up in the Hunter Valley. It's very cool.
And I highly approve of naming dogs people names.
Yeah.
There's just something about animals and having human names, as we call them.
Well, sometimes I call him Charles. It depends.
Oh.
Yeah, Charles.
Is that when he's wearing a bow tie and a top hat?
Yeah, he's invited some mates over for poker. Yeah. He's generally drunk when I'm talking to it, Charles. But he doesn't listen to me. He doesn't care.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people name their pets. You know that you've got a lot of. I hear a lot of Thor and Odins and Lokis and all those kind of things, and you know all weird names of like characters from TV shows and stuff like that. But actually, you know, naming your dog Charlie, I like it because we've got a cat and we named her Ripley after Eileen Ripley from Aliens, of course. You know, the first.
Yeah.
As much as Jennifer Lawrence likes to say, the first female actor, you know, action star.
Yeah.
Oh god! But I always wanted to name them, you know, something like Bruce or you know.
Yeah.
But I got outvoted.
Yeah. I was going to say I actually know a dog called Bruce. Someone
there you go.
Bruce. But I can't think who it was at the moment. Yeah, it'll come to me tonight. I'll ring you about 2 days.
I used to have a cat called Leonard.
Leonard.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but this is one of my favorite stories because I recently just bought a house with my sister and brother-in-law. So I think I was 21, I think, at the time, and they got a little kitten, and they said, "Here's a kitten. We've called him Dash," and then they said, "We're going away for holidays for 3 weeks." So for 3 weeks while they were away on holidays, I was like, Leonard. And then, so I renamed their cat. And I was priceless when they came home and they were like, "Oh, Dash," and it wouldn't even like listen to them. And then I stuck my head in the door and went, "Leonard," and the ears propped up, and I was just like, done. And then they said, "The cat's yours now."
Yeah.
Cat whispering for sure.
Yes.
There you go.
That was funny.
There you go.
Well, let's dive into these icebreakers. What do you say?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said before, I've overthought all of them. But, yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, sure.
And this is the moment when we tell you they're actually fake questions and we're going to give you the real stuff now.
No.
Yeah, well, I was actually contemplating that because I said to my offside, I'm a library technician this afternoon. I don't know if it would have been better if I didn't have questions, but I don't think that would have worked either because I would have sat here and tried to figure out what to say. So
Yeah.
good idea. They're a good idea.
No, we have a round two for returning guests. So if you do come back on when down the track, we do have a round two because we ended up having a couple of people come back. So I thought we can't ask them the same questions. We need new questions.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm going to
That's
kick off
cool.
with the first question. So
Yeah.
the first question is, you're more than welcome to answer this twice if you want to do the political answer and then actually say what it would be. You can
Yeah.
more than welcome to do that.
Yeah.
If you could get rid of one thing in the world, what would it be?
All right. So I've had since Saturday to think about it. The first one, there's actually three, but it won't go very long, promise. First one is apathy for renewable energies. I just feel that we're not paying enough attention to that. And yeah, I really want like a Jetsons car as soon as humanly possible. The second one is fear of AI. I'm a big Asimov fan, and in his writings and stuff, he's actually got a more positive spin on how AI will work with us rather than against us. So yeah, I reckon less fear, more hope is a good thing. And the last one is like a selfish one for myself. I was at a cafe on the weekend and I was eating a pie. It was a very nice pie. But if I could get rid of one thing personally, it would be Dancing Queen by ABBA, because they played it twice in a row. Twice in a row. While I was eating a pie. They didn't mix. Pies and ABBA don't mix. So
yes.
I don't think I can't think of a situation where I have ever been in the presence of both a pie and ABBA. So look,
Well,
I'll go with
that's
you
because
on
they
that
don't
one.
mix.
That's fine.
No one should go there. Not once, but then they played it again as if it was on repeat.
Oh, okay. Repeat. Look, yeah, hearing it once every 10 years is okay, but yeah. But in terms of the AI, I might have to jump on the bandwagon with you there and put down my readings of one S.A. Connor, who said that AI is bad and avoid all contact with companies called Skynet.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Look, good, great.
Yeah.
I think they're doing. I mean, it's become a lot more prevalent lately. We did an episode on this where we actually created stories with ChatGPT. Was it ChatGPT or something like that? Yeah, I'd never used it before, and it was very interesting. Very interesting at how it came up with things and suggestions and pretty decent stories. So look, technology is just going to keep going and going and going. It's why fear it when you can embrace it.
Well, that's the thing. And at the moment, like at school, for example, we use it to differentiate. I don't know if you've ever or remember having like books with readers in them, and they say the kids read through them at their different levels. So you can do that on Chat GTP.
Oh wow!
Just like that. So, but then we also make them for the theme, whatever the theme is. Like if it's Egypt, then it'll be about Egypt, and they'll be exactly the same stories with the titles and stuff, or sort of non-fictiony stuff. But and then differentiate it for the kids to be able to read them. So I mean that's awesome. It takes away that administration time. It's great.
So are you primary school or high school?
No, I was primary school for a while, and now I'm in high school. I'm actually doing a literary English thing, which is a crossover to get my ticket for high school teaching English.
Cool.
So I get to read like all these different genres and stuff all the time. It's absolutely awesome. So I would definitely recommend something like that. It's great.
Oh wow!
Especially Confidential was the last one I read, so that was amazing.
So, do you have any trouble before we jump to the next icebreaker with students trying to pass ChatGPT as their own work, or
not yet? Not yet. But I'm sure it's coming. I don't know. There's
some software. There's software you can get which you could use it to scan the document or whatever, and it can give you a percentage rate on whether it's like 99% this has been created.
Plagiarism.
By AI.
Yeah. So when kids, because we've got our own learning management system and things. And when you do upload your tasks and stuff, it does go through a plagiarism software thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all happening. Oh yeah, it's already happening.
Because if 100%, if I had ChatGPT when I was in school all the time, everything just
yeah.
I would have. I mean, I was so I don't know, wanted to do the minimal thing as possible. I mean,
Yeah.
I rocked up to a history exam once, and they said, well, it's going to be one of these 3 topics. We're not going to tell you which one.
Mm.
And then 5 minutes, like while we're lined up to go into the exam, I just turned to one of the kids and went, "Oh, tell us all about this one." And then I went in there, and it was that one.
That one, perfect.
And I was just like, you know, I got away with a lot.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works.
But you got to remember, we went to school at a different time, Jamie, too. So,
yeah,
like,
I know. Yeah.
you know, this is talking 20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
no, 30.
30?
No, I left early. I left in
you did too.
2000 end of 2000.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the same with me. So I finished up in year 12. But no, my sister's an English teacher in Rudy Hill in New South Wales.
Yeah.
And some of the advancements that that you guys have gone through, and since, like, my sister's 4 years younger than me, so we basically went to school during the same era. And some of the changes she's seen that come through the system are just absolutely amazing with the technology that becomes available.
Yeah. Well, we're all using, like, I started, obviously. Well, you guys finished in 2000.
Yeah.
When did I finish? I finished 1990.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I actually had a 50th last year.
Well, okay, I will say it's not just to flatter, I guess, but you don't look 50.
No, well, I bathe in milk. I bathe in milk like Cleopatra.
There you go.
Kind of enjoy it. Silky,
And then
feeling.
once you finish your bath, you just put some cornflakes in and off you go. Breakfast is served.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. Well, be in there for a while. You have to eat fast. They go soggy very quickly.
I can actually
wow.
see that. It would probably be a better combination than Aber and pies, but I don't guess. Well, I'm sure the last thing you want to talk about is work. So let's move on to your bucket list. Tell us something that's on your bucket list.
Okay. So there were 2 things, but I took one off. But I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm reading the Hyperion series. Have you seen that? It's a science fiction thing. Anyway, the first one was amazing. So I've just started reading the second one, the Fall of Hyperion. Absolutely incredible. Dan Simmons, his name is. And it's got reviews in the back because it's an older sort of thing, older sort of novel. Stephen King's actually wrote I Am in Awe of Dan Simmons. So, wow. Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Wow.
So, you're going to plagiarize that for sure. That's going to be one of my just cut and paste. So I was going to say, like, get mentored by someone like Dan Simmons or like a really great author. But I'd really like to meet George Miller. He's kind of a bit of a hero of mine. And the problem is we went out to Broken Hill a few years ago, 2019, 17, something like that. And went to the Mad Max Museum and went to the Silver Pump.
Nice.
Absolutely amazing. But ever since then, there's been people in our life that have met George Miller, except for me.
Oh.
Right? They're always telling me, like, even just last weekend, my sister-in-law met the stuntman who was on one of the motorcycle stuntman for Mad Max, the first one, where they sort of get the bike hits the guy in the back of the head. Yeah. So he was one of those stuntmen. And so they spent like an hour talking to this guy. So she's messaged me to tell me all of this stuff. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Good on you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have the novels of Mad Max. You don't have to. Anyway, so there's a lady also, there's a family down in Vaucluse. And when I was doing the book launch, I said, we need a guest speaker. And she said, oh, look, because she knew I was like George Miller. She actually mentioned my book Buzzbomb to George Miller at a gala.
Oh, awesome.
I know. So I'm kind of a big deal. Not that George will remember a thing, but she said, oh, well, what I can do, I know where he lives. I send down a book and I'll put it in his postbox. So
There
again,
you
I
go.
didn't. Well, yeah, but I didn't do that. That's pretty weird. Yeah. So, but there's a mate of mine. He's a pastor, and his son has just made a movie called Wilfred Gordon MacDonald Partridge. It's a kids book about an old lady. Pretty sure it's Jackie French who wrote it.
Yeah.
And so he's made this movie, but Bruce Spencer's in it, and Bruce Spence was the gyro captain in Mad Max. So my mate, the pastor, has gone down to make breakfast for the crew because that's what his son asked for, and he met Bruce Spence and just spent like 2 hours talking to Bruce Spence. He was apparently a very lovely guy. So if I could do anything, I would love to meet George Miller, and just have a really, really decent chat with him.
You got to break through that barrier of 1 degree of separation.
Yeah.
I know. It's a Kevin Bacon thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let me through.
Yeah. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, Furiosa's coming out, so that should be good.
Nice.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right. Now, question number 3 is, in your opinion, what is the greatest sitcom ever made? And you can put down, we like to give guests, you can say what is the greatest one that's ever been made. And if you've got a favorite that's not that one, you can let us know that as well.
All right. So when I was growing up, MASH was a big one, of course, and that was pretty cool, and the ending was amazing. But for me, my favorite, and it's actually English, Black Books. Have you ever seen Black Books?
Oh yeah, Black Books.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
Black Books. Yeah, absolutely love Black Books. Dylan Moran is amazing. We went and saw him at the Civic Theatre in Newcastle.
Awesome. Does he still smoke and have a glass of wine as he does his stand up?
He didn't smoke, but he had started drinking again. That was part of his act. He said he couldn't quit for a while, apparently. And
I don't think I've seen any snippets, any videos of his stand up without him having wine.
Yeah. No, he was awesome. It was so good. It was so good.
He's a very funny dude.
I remember hearing a radio interview on a show I used to listen to on Triple M. They had him as a guest, and they neglected to tell him that the interview was at 9 a.m. the night after he did a show. So he rocked up at about 9:30, and I swear you could not understand a single word he said. It was in the heat of like. It was they put up the whole interview. He was coughing a lot and slurring, and I think he was still drunk from the night before. But I thought, there you go, that's classic.
Why not?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I think that was about 15 years ago in the height of everything. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, but this time around he was he was a bit older. He wore baggier clothes. He didn't have the big black jacket on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was a very reflective kind of Dylan Moran. Reaching that age, I suppose, as you do. But Black Books, absolutely love it.
100%. That's a very, very, very good choice, I think.
Yeah,
I remember I remember I think it was my mum or my grandmother that introduced me to Black Books when I was probably about 12 or 13, and loving parents, and I can't go past that. That's a very good answer. I love my British comedy, and I think that's kind of what got me into that area, because I sometimes prefer British comedy to American comedy.
Totally.
90% of the time,
Yeah, absolutely. What about have you seen The Mighty Boosh?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I love The Mighty Boosh.
Bits and pieces. I actually preferred their stand up. Like Noel Fielding, he is so funny. Especially in that other show. What's the other show? IT Crowd. IT Crowd is one of my favorite shows of all time. But because I grew up, like when I was in university, I studied computer science, so I absolutely love the IT Crowd. I grew up with that, and then that put me onto Mighty Boosh, and then I've got I'm a big Ricky Gervais fan as well, so I've seen everything he's done. So
yeah. No, I agree. Completely agree with all of that.
Yeah.
Anytime we want to get together and we'll do a big streaming
exactly
British comedy, completely into
it. Awesome. Well, let's get a little bit more out there. And do you have a zombie apocalypse plan?
Yes, I do. So there was always the thing about, do they walk slow? Do they run? One of the kids at school asked me, is it more like a Last of Us kind of thing? And I don't know what the difference is. I suppose they move when there's sound, don't they?
They're technically not. Controversial. I don't think they're zombies, actual zombies.
Well, I'll go tell that kid and break his little heart. No,
no.
No. But so what I would do, I would like to, instead of running away and stuff, I would try to disguise myself like Bill Murray did in Zombieland.
Yes,
I think that's the goal, and just sort of take over and try to make a brand new civilization where I was ruling as the lead zombie.
Yeah. That's a great film.
Yeah, I like that.
Did you see the second one?
Yes, yeah, I did. It was a while ago though.
Yeah, well, I can't remember where that came out. It was 10 years after the first one, but
yeah.
I still thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, they were very good. They were very good. Yeah.
All right. The last and final question, which is my favorite one. So Mr. Elon Musk has given you a call and he's offered you to test drive his new electric time machine. What do you do and where do you go?
Yeah. Okay. So Elon Musk and testing things was kind of a problem for me because his rocket exploded.
There's that, yeah.
So I don't know if I get in. I was talking to the same boy about it who was talking about the Last of Us zombies being zombies. And we decided that what could possibly happen in that scenario would be that you get in the car and you take off, and then your body is broken apart into different times. And if anyone ever got to the point of following the lineage of that body, they would find that every 200 years, a piece of the body dropped out into a certain time frame and put back together.
That is very creative.
Yeah.
Points for that.
yeah. The kid liked it. The kid thought it was pretty cool.
Actually, now you got my brain going, because that'd be like, imagine the stories you could do just from one dimension where they find this arm. Yeah, and then like the detectives are looking for a murderer, and it's just like
yeah. I had other ideas about going back and telling myself to start writing earlier, but that's my answer. I think
I like it.
I'd be worried about getting Elon Musk made until it actually doesn't explode.
Yeah, well, see, only 2 people have caught on that it's test drive. They always get. Yeah, but I like to think that it's at the point where it's like, okay, it's good to go. Do you get to take it for a spin? Kind of. Yeah, it's not on the market or anything, but
yeah, it'd be an interesting. It'd be very interesting.
Because I always say, if someone was going to invent time travel, it would be him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even where else could you possibly? It's like what, into the future and see how everything ends? Because eventually,
that's more risky, because how you don't know what you're going into.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. Yep.
I mean, I might go a day ahead or a week ahead, grab some lotto numbers, and then come back.
That's like the generic answer. Yeah. I'm just gonna go sports almanac. And just find out who wins it. Yeah. No, I'd like to go. I reckon I'd like to go maybe 50 years, 50 to 100 years. Just see what's going on. Maybe bring back the PS67 and and play The Last of Us 28. And because it's just going to keep going on and on and on. But no, I think I'd like to go 50 to 100 years, either past or future.
Yeah,
I think future is more appealing to us because we don't know. Like we know what happened in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you totally do.
The future, we have no idea. Like we could end up back in the Middle Ages because of EMP goes off or something, and you never know. Like a massive terrorist EMP, and we're back to Knights of the Round Table kind of stuff. Or it could be the complete opposite. We could be up in space, and you never know. And I'd like to go 50 to 100 years because I'm 41. I probably won't be here in 50 years. Definitely won't be here in 100 years. So I'd like to see what I'm going to miss out on.
Yeah, what we're going to miss. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree. I'd like to go as far into the future as possible, I reckon. Well, I don't know. How far's too far? We're living in
That's the risk. That's the risk, you know.
You get there and there's no planet left. What happens then?
Yeah.
Well, exactly that. Exactly right. Exactly right. You never know. It could be 100 years down the track. Could be next week. You never know.
Yes,
Yep.
that's
The
right.
way that we're going at the moment, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All it takes is one Uncle Joe from the USA to slip a finger on a warhead, and we're all up the creek without a paddle. I tell you. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
Land
that's
of the
about as
free, home of the
political as we
brave.
get. No
Yeah.
more. That's the last political reference you'll ever hear from me.
That's a good one.
All right. Well, thank you for answering those questions.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. Thank you for
Before-
asking them.
Before we dive into more about you and your wonderful book, Buzzbomb, we're going to take a quick ad break.
Greetings. We're Technically a Conversation, a podcast for curious people by curious people.
Every week, we take turns sharing a new topic, and the other host has no idea what the topic will be.
Our topics are all over the place, from light and funny to dark and sometimes spooky.
We've covered everything from true crime, historical events and people, pop culture icons, the supernatural and occult,
I like that.
and legends and folklore.
My favorite. We're like the Dollar Tree stuff you should know.
Except completely different. No matter what the topic is, we try to make the episodes funny.
Yeah, you may not want to advertise that. Our jokes aren't very good.
What are you talking about? My jokes are fantastic.
Hey, I get paid to laugh either way.
Wait, you get paid?
Check us out at technicallyaconversation.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Have you ever bought or rented a video that wasn't quite right? It may be an illegal copy. I've always wanted to do that, you know.
Turns out I poked around, did a little bit of digging. I went on Shoreline and saw your bio there, and I noticed we have two things in common. One, we both used to play in bands.
Oh, yep. Yep.
And two, we've both written stories about cockroaches.
Right. Okay.
I did a little Far Side style comic in high school.
Yeah.
It was just like random cockroach drawings and based off real people in my school. But
Oh, like
I'd given them,
I'm
yep. but
I'm
I'd
just
given-
writing a story. I'm just writing a story about cockroaches, so I can be part of this group because I was in a band as well. But that's fine. Just leave me out of the conversation. But yeah,
Yeah, no. Look, I'll. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll throw some pictures up. I think I still got some laying around somewhere.
Yeah, definitely do that.
But yeah, no. It was like basically only one kid gave me permission to use his actual name, and that was Kieran. That was Kieran the cockroach because he looked like a cockroach. You know? But it was his idea, so he said, "Yeah, use it." And I think he said, "If you
Is that here or something?
yeah, no, it's weird. It's really hard to describe. You just look at him and you think cockroach. You know,
Cockroach, straight up.
yeah. We had a lot of fun with Kieran because we had whenever we had a substitute teacher, and you probably know about this. They do roll call, but instead of asking everyone's name individually, they go, "Who's not here?" and we'd all go, "Kieran," but he's in a different classroom. So then you get a classroom that says he's here, in the classroom that says he's not here, and
You're not lying.
yeah, it was
lying.
yeah. Can you tell I went to a private school? It was
I
fun.
teach at a private school, so
Awesome.
yeah,
I know all
it's a
about
good
them.
place.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you just tell us. Well, there's two things to talk about. Just tell us about your band days. Because me and Ryan both played in bands back in the day. We played 90s punk rock pretty much. But
Oh, okay, yeah.
what
Yeah.
was it like for you, being 10 years ahead of us?
Yeah, well, back then, actually, when we were recording, we actually used the reel to reels, so that was interesting.
Oh,
and then
Awesome.
as we moved on, we actually saw the crossover into computer technology and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's one thing, I suppose. But yeah, just really enjoyed it. We used to play in Newcastle, and then on the weekends go down and play in Sydney and different pubs and stuff down there. We'd take our cassettes and to the crowd and all that sort of stuff, and then come home, and I'd go back to Woolworths, Nightfill, and pack vegetables.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to make it. Yeah. So that was great. Yeah, a lot of rehearsals, a lot of good fun. Yeah, just played a lot. Tried to write originals. Had a few covers. The covers we chose were like Alice in Chains and things like that.
All right. Yeah.
I wasn't really into that sort of stuff because I kind of liked like almost, I don't know if it's Motown and stuff, but just more soulful melodic stuff going on. Yeah, and I think I was probably a year or two older than the guitarist who was choosing all the songs as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to do like Fortunate Son by Creedence. And they'd never heard it. So, and that was the other thing too. Like these days, I still think about it. These days, if you're in a band, you'd be like, oh, let's play this Spotify, straight up. Whereas back in the day, hang on, I'll go to a shop and buy the album, or at least order the album, and it'll be here in 3 weeks, and then I'll show you.
Or stay up listening to Rage. And then waiting for the song to come on.
No, I did that. I had listening to the radio on the weekends and hitting record and then pausing it and making sure that you didn't get any of them talking over the top of it. And
or they cut it off at the end with them talking.
Well, that used to annoy the crap out of me. I used to be a big Guns N' Roses fan back in the day when I was a lot younger.
You are part of this group. You are part of this group.
It used to annoy the crap out of me when you have it on Triple M or whatever it would be, Triple J back in the day, and they played November Rain, and the announcer would just talk all the way through the really amazing.
You feel like driving in there and punching him in the face. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
And then my uncle finally got me a copy of Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, and then I didn't have to worry about it anymore. But
and then your uncle just walked in and started talking over the top of it.
Did you go see him in concert at all?
I saw him once when they were down here at Eastern Creek a long, long time ago.
I went to the Eastern Creek concert.
Oh, did you? Well,
Two worlds collide. Two worlds collide.
Yeah. No, that was cool. So we went when, I don't know, so I'm a massive Gunners fan. I've actually got Chinese Democracy signed by Axl Rose.
Nice.
I got it in San Francisco. But anyway, so my wife and I went down when she was pregnant, and it was so loud, but it was with like when Axl Rose just had a band that wasn't Guns N' Roses. And so it was getting towards the end of the set, and she's like, I'm actually feeling like I'm having contractions. And I'm like, just hang on, Paradise City's the last song.
That's the soundbite right there.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect if she'd given birth during Sweet Child of Mine. There you go.
Absolutely. They're very small seats though. Very, very cramped. It's a very cramped area.
Yeah, you would have got security over there going, mate, you only paid for 2 seats and there's clearly 3 of them now. So off you go. But I remember that concert because I had a mate who lived right next to the Great Western Highway, and he literally stood on his back veranda and could hear the whole concert. Like Eastern Creek, probably about another 15 k's down that way, and he could hear it. It was that loud and that full on back in the day, and he was able to hear the whole thing from his back porch. That's what he said to me. He said, you should have come over and stood on my back porch and saved yourself $110 for a ticket. So,
right.
But,
well, we did that with the Rolling Stones up at the Hunter Valley. Rolling Stones came to the Hunter Valley, and there's a big estate near them called Binbadgen, and we went over to a mate's house and just listened to it there. And he put up like videos of Rolling Stones on the wall on his projector, and it was very cool. I would have liked to see. My wife's seen the Rolling Stones, but I didn't see them.
Oh, there you go. Music was so much better back. Then we're going to sound like old men now. Music was so much better back in the day. Seriously, like I haven't been to a concert. Well, I tell a lie. Me and Jamie went and saw Weird Al Yankovic earlier this year.
Oh, really? Did you see the movie?
Yes, we did.
We saw it a long time before it got released on Paramount Plus, because when you go on the high seas and you can see things a little bit earlier than when you're supposed to. But I watched it about 5 times. It's so good. I love that movie. Yeah,
it is. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Daniel Radcliffe it's just all over it. It's the most, as he said on stage, it's like the most accurate biopic.
Especially when we with Madonna.
And Pablo Escobar, such a fan,
Oh,
you know.
that was so good.
But
Yeah.
I love that he said, look, he wants to make you guess what's real and what's not, because some of it's actually true.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and you got to
like,
pick.
yeah, like he really
Yeah.
did. He really did record his first single in like a bathroom.
Yep.
His parents did buy him an accordion from a door-to-door salesman. You know,
But they didn't just beat the crap out of him before they.
yeah,
Or-
you know? Yeah.
And it was funny. I watched after watching the movie for the first time. I went on YouTube and watched a documentary, and his parents are the nicest people in the world, and they're
Yeah.
insanely supportive of him. And you watch the movie, and you're like, they're scary people.
Well, you have to have
No,
that
that was-
to be an artist, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. You have to have a traumatic upbringing, and
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Yeah. Without that, you're nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there you go. Wow. This has
Yeah.
turned into the music podcast. So
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
no, that's fine.
I don't think we're all complaining. At least it's not the
I'm not
literary
complaining.
podcast.
Yeah. There's,
Yeah.
there's one person who downloaded this episode going, when are they going to start talking about books?
Yeah.
or pronunciation, because from our last two episodes, our last two episodes have been with Americans or people from overseas.
Okay.
And we always bring up like how we say things wrong, and I'm not going to do it again here. Go back and listen to the other episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it once now, and because I know Jose will be listening. So, Jose, I love you, but it's emu, not emu.
Emu.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
We did a crossover episode with a podcast called Technically a Conversation, which is a great podcast. I've been binging their back catalogue because I'm an Uber driver, so I've got lots of time where I can listen to stuff in between. So I've been going through their back catalogue. Fantastic podcast, but we did a 2-hour crossover special 100th episode, and I had to hear the word emu be said by emu about 167 times, and I just say, guys, we love you, but it's emu.
Yeah.
But we did correct them on Aussie.
Oh yeah.
Because Aussie.
Yeah,
Well,
Aussie.
Aussie.
The Americans are Aussie.
Say it like Ozzy Osbourne for Black Sabbath. Aussie. That's how you say it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you sound like a South African.
Exactly.
Bad guy out of Die Hard or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you have this book called Buzzbomb.
Bookie Books. Bookie Books. Yes.
Yes.
That's all the time we've got for this evening. Thanks for covering.
No, look for the first thing, and I'll be honest, one of the first reasons I wanted to get you on is because like the cover art grabbed me right away. I'm going like, what is this?
100%.
It was so awesome. I sent it to Ryan, and he was just like freaking awesome, you know.
Yeah.
So we must judge a book by its cover, right? So
You have to judge a book by its cover. I judge everyone by their cover, and I don't even want to know after that. No, No, the illustrations and stuff like that was all done by a guy called Matt Baker, and he's absolutely amazing. He's actually working on some big novels in America and stuff like that at the moment. He used to work at Disney when it was in Australia. He's just an amazing artist, and it's like the comic sort of style, the graphic novel sort of style. There's just only one thing that he does, because he also paints, and he's done like real life kind of lines, faces and stuff like that. It's he's absolutely amazing. So thankfully he's on board for the second book, because I feel that Matt Baker is an absolute priceless gem for me with my book and all that sort of stuff. So he's a good guy.
So how did it, like, did you have an idea in your head and you had to kind of translate it to him, or did he spitball you some ideas?
I sent him the say the paragraph or a couple of paragraphs where the picture was from, and I thought this would be a good picture sort of stuff. And then I sent him, so for example, there was like, I'd send him a picture of the type of person that I thought it would look like, or something that was inspiring, and then I just sort of leave it to him, and he would draw something, and every time I'd be like, yep, that's fine. Just do that. That's amazing. So it's actually the book cover itself, because he was a big fan of what was that? Thunder the Barbarian. We were right into that for a little while, him and I, looking at the illustrations. But we got onto the Evil Dead Part 3, the Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's got that kind of feel to it. And if you look at there's posters of the Army of Darkness and stuff like that, and it's very close to that.
I was just looking at it then on my tablet, and I got those. I got the. I saw, you got Ash Williams standing up with the chainsaw on his hand, and I was looking at the front. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that for sure.
Yeah. So I was pretty happy with that. But yeah, he was just incredible through the whole process. So
yeah,
time.
It definitely grabs you 100%.
Yeah. No, he's good value. Yeah.
Excellent.
And yeah, just knows what he's doing. But like I said, he's a painter as well, and he does some amazing things with paint as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, do you want to give us a brief rundown of what the overall plot of Buzzbomb is?
Sure. Yep. So Buzzbomb has a past, and he's left his home in Sydney to travel into the Forbidden Zones, where he finds out that things aren't all what his family was, what his tribe was saying, his tribe of cockroaches was saying. He finds that there's it's not just black and white, everything's a bit grey. And he ends up in Indonesia, in a city called of Makassar, and he's saving some baby wood borers from these electric caterpillars, and that's how he meets the captain. The captain puts him on his ship, and they eventually are overrun by prawn pirates, and he ends up in the ocean and drifts and ends up on this deserted beach, where he travels in and finds a cockroach village again, another wood cockroach village, of course. But all this stuff is starting to happen because there's a giant kind of cosmic horror-esque creature that's devouring a lot of stuff. There's an army of stink bugs that have taken it and put it in a cage, and now are invading the coastland. The coast, east coast of Australia, and it falls apart from there. So yeah, and there's love and there's revenge and there's a bit of horror in there. I love challenging myself with throwing my characters into corners and not being able to get them out, and then trying to figure out a sort of a clever way or an exciting, action-packed way to get them out of trouble. So there's a lot of that going on, and in the end, there's a bit of a twist.
Well, that's what we like to hear. Twists are always good.
Yeah.
So is the overall aim to get people to like or sympathize with cockroaches and stop killing them, or?
Yeah, well, I think the reason why people don't like cockroaches is they're going to actually survive the nuclear war. Yeah. So people are kind of envious. Yeah. And I think they squash them out of envy rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I started using a cockroach because when I first started writing it, we were in a house and it was full of cockroaches. And I thought it was funny at the time. And then it became a real thing.
Well, I was going to ask where the idea came from, but clearly hanging out with cockroaches will do that.
Yeah.
So what was your overall process like? Like, did you map it out and have points, or did you kind of write as you went?
Yeah. So my wife is super supportive, which is great. So I've actually written the three of them. And for each one of them, I was allowed to write for a week a draft. So I wrote the draft completely. Gosh, the kids were younger then, so my wife had to look after the kids, and I'd write just for a week, come out now and then, get some lunch, go back in. It was amazing, and I did that for the 3 books. Sometimes I was in the shed. The last one, I was actually in the shed and it was raining and it was really intense, which is great because it was that's the last book of the series, and it really was. It was a great experience for me. But so I wrote 3 drafts, and so then I went back and started on the first one and was working through that. And while I was working through that, I was also, like I was saying, doing the the course at uni with all the different literature genres and stuff like that. So I've looked at crime and Victorian literature and things like that, and Gothic literature and whatever else. But when I was doing that, I'm like, oh, that's how these great people have written, and using those guys and writing again, not necessarily in their style, but just having that knowledge of that's what you can see what these people have been doing as you deconstruct the literature. And so like I was trying to do that sort of thing, and I become pretty serious about the whole thing, and tried to get it published eventually, and did. So now I'm working on the next one, which that's a draft also, but because I've got this first one now, I'm sort of molding the second one in light of the first one, and in light of the last one as well. So there is a plan and a pattern, but I like to leave it pretty loose, because I think if you nail something down too much, there's not that freedom there to change your mind on something, especially if that's great, that's the best thing you've ever read, and then you walk away, and then a week later you come back and you read it and it's absolute rubbish. You need that space to breathe with writing, and so I like to leave things fairly loose for a while before I completely nail it down and say, yep, that's the end.
That's good, because I love the idea of being able to leave something for a while, come back to it with fresh eyes. Because even when I published my book, I first did it self-published and just did it all myself. I didn't know what I was doing, at all. And then I went there and did it on Amazon, and then I pick up the book and I go, oops, spelling mistake, or this is wrong, that's wrong. And I swear I'd gone through it a million times, checking, and then
I know where you come from. Absolutely. I self-published a book before that as well, and then you release it, and exactly. I was looking at a certain page, this big spelling mistake just stands out. You're like, oh.
It's just flipping to a random page. It's not like
So but I love the process of it. I love the process of building these characters and going along with them, and then, like I said, just throwing them into these dark, cavernous places and seeing what happens. And it's okay if they get bloody. It's better. I enjoy it when they get a bit bloody.
So be honest, is Buzzbomb in the school curriculum at your school, or are you working on that? Yeah.
I'm like one of those uni lecturers who say, well, you need to read my book if you're going to pass, and I just leave the room at that stage.
Well, I just wanted to say, Jamie, this podcast has lived up to a tradition, because I don't know if you can see it. You can't really see it.
No, it's pretty blurred.
I have gone out and bought your book, David. Jason, sorry, I bought your book now. We like to joke and say that I've unblurred my background. You still can't really see it. Anyway, I just bought your book because you've just explained it so well, and we joke that this podcast is getting Ryan to buy more books. So I officially have it. After hearing you talk. I mean, the artwork. There you go. You can see it there. The artwork alone was almost enough to get me to buy it, but then just having a chat to you so far, and the chat's by far not over. But so I've just bought it. So
Thank you so much. Thanks very much.
No, that's okay. Not a problem. But I love this podcast because it's gotten me back into reading. I was mainly, I went through a period of life where I started off really young and I used to read all the time.
Yeah.
And as you grow up and you go through life, you get married, you do all your stuff. I've got books on my shelf and I've got books on my tablet, and I just never get around to reading it. But then when Jamie suggested the author chats, it's actually got me. I have read every single book that I have bought from the authors we've spoken to.
Yeah, right.
So I find, so I'm looking forward, and I always do follow up. In the next week or two, once I've finished it, I'll get in touch with you and let you know my thoughts, because I think
I hope it lives up to your expectations.
It's going to be the most different thing that I've read in the last couple of months, and that's what I like. Yeah. I want something different, because I've done a lot of reading in the last couple of months, and I'm always looking for something new, and I hate I love going back to the books that I've read a million times, but I also don't like it because I want new experiences. I want to discover new things and fall in love with a book all over again. And so I'm really looking forward to cracking into your book tomorrow.
Yeah, that's cool, mate. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
No problems at all. That Jamie said, this is the reason why he has me on as a co-host, so I can buy all the books. So there you go.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't want you to think I was distracted, not doing something. I was like, where I need to buy this book. Where can I get it from? And
I just kept on talking. I figured you were looking at it right then, so I just kept on talking.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I'm an Apple guy, and it wasn't on Apple Books, so I just went and bought it on my Amazon account. So
yeah, right.
So I'm looking forward. I might even start reading it tonight. I'm excited.
Yeah, oh, sweet,
and
mate.
then he'll send you a 500-word essay.
Yep.
On
totally. Yep. And then I'll start pulling it apart.
I was going to say, yeah. And then I'll get an email back from Jason in a few days saying, "Look, you've misspelt this. The grammar here is atrocious." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where's the tension? There's no tension in this. Yeah.
I love it. It's such an interesting premise, and I did do a bit of research before we had you on, but then just hearing you talk, I love hearing authors talk about their own books, because then you'll get, you can hear the passion come across in relation to it. So that just makes me want to buy it even more. But obviously this is as I said, to me it jumped out at me being sort of a different concept. So how did you actually come up with that, and how did you, where did the idea come from?
I'm pretty good at linking things together. I really wanted it to be Australian. I don't think there's anything wrong with our country. I don't think there's anything wrong with our animals. All the animals in it are from Australia. I made sure that I found out some interesting stuff about the Daintree, like there's uranium under the Daintree. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, don't tell anyone. They'll dig it up.
Yeah.
But I just think that we have a lot more to offer than we actually think we have as far as literature goes. And we should really use our country to the best of its ability as far as landscapes go, characters go. We've got some great characters going on. There's a show I'm watching at the moment. It is a show, not a book, but it's called Black Snow. It's got the guy.
I loved it with Travis, the guy from Vikings.
Yes,
that was so good.
I know. Don't tell me the ending, because I think we're on
I won't. I promise. Look, it was that good that me and my wife binged it in one day.
Yeah, and the cinematography and the color, the camera shots and stuff, just beautiful, just beautiful.
100%.
But as far as literature goes, we've got so many great great authors that we can sort of aim to, and I think we just need more of that. Be great.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm with you there. I mean,
Yeah,
my book's very, very, very Australian.
oh, absolutely. With your emus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your bloody emus.
However, as you can see by the beanie that I'm wearing, when I wrote it, Hamilton had just come out.
Okay.
So it's a little more. I like to say that it's very similar to the American Revolution. I like to think that the emus broke away from the monarchy.
Yeah.
War, so there's a lot of presidential stuff in there as well.
Well, I'll have to get your book as well. That'd be great.
Awesome. I'll buy yours. You buy mine.
Done. Yeah, that's awesome, matey.
There you go. You've just sold 2 books on your on the podcast.
Not a bad Friday night. There you go.
Yeah, totally. Had pizza and a beer and sold 2 books. It's great.
There you go.
You talked about your favorite band. You just
and talked about
yeah.
So here's a music question, and I know I always say this to musicians, and they always go, I can't just name one. So what would be, and you can do either for songs or bands, what's your top 5 of all time?
Bands. We went and saw, because I brought up my boys right, except they're all getting their own opinions on music now. That's kind of ordinary, but at least they're still using instruments in the music that they like. So My Chemical Romance, we went and saw them. beginning of this year. They were just incredible.
They do a great stage show, don't they?
Oh yeah, they were just on point. Gunners went and saw them. I think it was at the end of last year that we went and saw them. Yeah, it was actually end of last year. What other bands I like? Oh, the Saints. I love the Saints. And the Angels with Doc Neeson. Everybody's biography, actually. That was pretty cool.
Oh, is it any good? I've had my eye on it. I love music biographies.
Yeah. So it does, because it takes you through from the beginning right to the end. Before he passed on. But then throughout, it'll talk about the albums. And so you just grab Spotify. And so when you're reading that part, you play some of the songs, you're like, oh, I know exactly where they're going.
That.
Oh, that's great. Like there's this one with the Howling, and they were in America and they lost all their equipment, and Cheap Trick came into their rescue and gave them all their equipment. And so there, you listen to these things and you're like, you just get the context behind what was going on. So that was pretty cool.
I might have checked that out as well.
Yeah, it's very good.
I love a good music. I've read so many good music biographies. Like that's the kind I love my fiction, but I find in the last 10, 15 years I've just been reading like I think it was Motley Crue's The Dirt that actually got me into reading music biographies, and then I've just gone absolutely crazy and any that I can get my hand on. So I might check that one out actually.
Yeah, no, it is very good. And it's super Australian. So
of course.
Obviously with the Angels.
I'll agree with My Chemical Romance. I saw them with Green Day probably about 6 years ago at the Sydney Cricket Ground. They know how to put on a show, I'll tell you that. Yeah. So it's absolutely amazing. It's just like, some bands just get up there and just play the songs, but that was just, I remember seeing them and then seeing Green Day, and it was like the best stage show I've seen probably in my whole life. Yeah. No, they know how to do it. It's amazing. Definitely. Yeah, so they're all good. Don't mind the Jets either, Screaming Jets. They're pretty cool. I saw them get signed down at the Bel Air in Newcastle, so that was a bit of a thing for us. They were in year 12, bands getting signed at the Bel Air, so can't go past the Screaming Jets as well. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Show me age, it's all right.
Well, we really have turned this into the music podcast, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, it's not very often we get to talk to musicians, like it's good. It's like reminiscing. Like I saw the film clip that my band did for one of our songs. It's 10 years old this week, and I thought, oh God, 10 years old. And then I think back, and I left the band I think about 5 years ago, and then they kind of just fizzled out from there. But it feels like yesterday. But then I saw that in my memories on Facebook. 10 years ago, you made this. Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And then my band poached one of your guitarists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he wasn't very good anyway. He's not listening to this. No, I'm joking.
Oh, he wouldn't be. No. It was a strange poach because I played rhythm and sang, and we wanted a lead guitarist, and he was just a rhythm guitarist.
Yeah.
So, two rhythm guitarists. Yeah.
Because we had two rhythm guitarists in our band, because we didn't. Unfortunately, our lead guitarist passed away, and we got another guy who could only play rhythm. So we had two rhythm, but we were punk anyway. Like you don't really need too much lead in punk rock. So
no.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. And we just played so many gigs with Jamie's band that our members decided to just merge into one super band.
I think you borrowed our drummer a few times.
Yeah, we borrowed Mitch a few times when our drummer was too drunk to play. So there you go.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's always good to have another, because drummers are the hardest to find. Like guitarists and singers and bass players, like we're all like a dime a dozen.
Dime a dozen.
But drummers, and it was so good that Mitch just came into practice a couple of times, learned all our songs, so that whenever our drummer wasn't up to it or had something on or just got too drunk, Mitch could just jump in. And start playing.
And he was self-taught too.
Yeah, I know.
When we started playing, he had only been playing 2 weeks, and he's just going punk beat. And you're just like, how are you doing this, you freak? But you'll get a laugh out of this, Jason. My favorite story about Goz, Ryan, is when we're playing in the city, and he was worried he had too much to drink. Like he was kind of with it, sort of thing. But he drove home, and he gets on the M4. I don't know if you're familiar with Sydney all that much, but
Yeah, we drove home a few times in vans from Sydney.
Yeah. Well, so this is like, so basically from the Sydney to Blue Mountains kind of area, and he lived in Blacktown. So he jumps on the M4, and every exit had an RBT.
Oh wow!
And he ended up going all the way up the Blue Mountains to like Glenbrook. Until there was no more coppers.
Oh,
wow. And then he went, I think it took him like 3 hours to get 2.5 hours to get home. Yeah. And he said, well, I was sober by the time I got.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think he probably would have been fine, but he was just like, I don't want to,
Yeah, there's always that. There's always that worry, isn't there?
I did the same thing coming home. We played a show in Wollongong at, do you remember Dicey Riley's, Jamie?
Yep.
It was a venue in Wollongong, a really good punk venue. And I did the same thing. I reckon I wasn't keeping track. Like I would have been right on the book. And I ended up driving and I got lost and ended up out of Cronulla. And from Wollongong, when I live out west. And as I said, it took me about 4 or 5 hours to get home when it should have really only taken me about 45 minutes. But, I tell you, those were the good old days.
Yeah.
We're not advocating drink driving at all, listeners. Please, if you do not drink and drive, but we made mistakes when we were younger. We were just lucky enough not to get caught.
I didn't drink, so I was always designated driver.
Oh,
so.
That's right. Yeah,
but I'd always get.
So was I. I was a designated driver.
I'd always get the look from the cop. The cop would go, "You've been drinking?" And I go, "I don't drink," and they're like, sure, sure,
whatever. Yeah.
So then I just started saying, not tonight,
Oh man, those were the good old days. Back when we used to play shows, you play like Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then you'd have Sunday to recover, and then you'd go back to work on Monday, and then do it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember coming back to Nightfield sometimes and just doing a short shift, like 4 o'clock till 8 or something like that. And so you've just been down at Sydney the whole night, driving home in the van. There's been an argument with a girlfriend and a guitarist. And he's actually opened the side door while you're sitting on like 115 going down. That happened one time. Scared the bassist. He was like 18 years old and he wasn't happy. Didn't show up to another gig, unfortunately. And then you get back to work, and like I said before, I'm there in the fruit and veg place department. I'm just okay, here we are again. Just potatoes.
So
rock star.
What did you play? Like, what instrument did you play?
Oh, I just sang.
You said, oh, rock star singer. Awesome.
Yeah. I had a lot of attitude.
Yeah,
no, I didn't at all. I tried to have an attitude, but really,
that was like me. I played punk rock, and I was just like so, laid back. So I was into I got into Arthur Rimbaud because Morrison and John Lennon were into him. Bukowski, pretty much because of Barfly, and I still love Bukowski stuff. But I also Morrison, Jim Morrison poetry. I got a heap of his as well. My son's actually reading Pale Fire. Have you guys ever watched the second Blade Runner? Yeah. Yes.
With Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. No, Ryan Gosling.
Gosling. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he when he has to prove that he's not a replicant, the poetry he uses is Pale Fire, and it's a 99 stanza poem. I haven't read it myself yet. My son has. He's a freak. He's worse than I am. But yeah, it's very cool. It's a very cool poem. If you get a chance to have a look at that.
Okay.
Ryan will just go off and buy it now. No.
I'll just get on the tablet now. I'll just jump onto the high seas and see if it's available from my local website. But oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like you should plug your book a lot, because we have been talking music, I think, more than you. Yes. There you go.
Buzzbomb. I will put the
Buzzbomb, a crash car. That's going to be backwards. Is that backwards? This
No,
is bonus content. There's bonus content.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bonus
awesome.
content.
Bonus content. Well, I can put all the links in the show notes. I'll put the artwork up on YouTube.
Bonus
Oh,
content.
nice.
If you want to screenshot that or send that to me, I can throw it up on our socials and put it
Yeah,
on
cool.
YouTube or however you want to do it.
Yep.
Get some promo. So apart from Buzzbomb, English Buzzbomb. Is that your only focus at the moment, or are there other ideas and other stories that you're thinking of getting to?
I've got a few other stories, like a futuristic kind of one with kids at a school, and they call the school the factory. What else? I've got a historical one about a giant rat monster thing called A Life in Amber, and it's based in and it ends with the Great Fire of London. It's like an alternate universe kind of thing. So there's a few things. Yeah, there's a few that I'm having a go at as well. But yeah, Buzzbomb is the focus at the moment. And I'm trying to, like I said, I'm going through the second draft and putting all my new skills that I've discovered, but while writing the first one, putting all those into that, and it's kind of like my my Empire kind of book. So you have like Star Wars, Empire, and then Return of the Jedi,
and then there's nothing else.
There's nothing. There's nothing else.
That joke's for Chris, our other host.
Yeah, he won't listen to this. He won't.
No.
Yeah.
He's got too much Diablo to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So out of the three, like, is the first one your favorite, or like story wise, plot wise? Have you at the point where you can pick a favorite yet, or?
No. Well, they're favorite. I like them all because I've tried different things with them. So in this second one, there's this, and it doesn't sound very exciting, but there's cave scenes with these things in the caves, and describing the darkness and the caves was a challenge, because how many ways can you describe dark rocks,
cave, yeah.
and dripping water, and the roots of trees hanging through the ceiling and all this sort of stuff. So just things like that. I enjoy doing that sort of thing. But I've also got at the end, Buzzbomb fails, and spoiler,
Infinity War.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's and then it goes into another one, and the last one is actually the setting for that is pretty much coming down into Newcastle during when it was actually a proper steel city, and it ends there, kind of thing, at sort of Nobby's Cathedral kind of areas in the middle of Newcastle. So yeah,
awesome.
There's lots of different ideas, and just making them all link together, and I just love doing it, as I'm sure you do too. Just love doing that problem solving kind of stuff, and still having emotion there, still having the emotion and the character arcs and things like that as well. Just make sure they're there. Yeah, love it.
Awesome. So before we let you go, just tell us where we can get it. Tell listeners where we can buy it and where they can follow you on your socials, if you've got a website and all that stuff. It's you time. Plug.
Right. Well, I don't have a website yet, but you can. My Instagram is Anti-Static Librarian, the Anti-Static Librarian. You can get it at Harry Hartog's. Any good bookshops will sell it. I did one of my book launches at Harry Hartog's at Maitland, which was awesome fun. That was kind of scary though, because for the first 10 minutes nobody came near the table. But then it was all good. So from where any good bookshops will have it, and you can also get it online through Shoreline Publishing.
And and while you're there, guys, buy my book, because it's on Shoreline Publishing too.
Yeah, it's right next to mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much
This
for
has been
coming on,
fun, mate.
Jason.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. It's been awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for asking us up. It made eating the pie with ABBA, worth it, because you guys had just messaged when I was eating the pie. So.
Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking that'd probably be a good children's book or something. Like it sounds like a children's book, eating pie with ABBA,
or eating a pie, hearing ABBA while I cry. There you go. There's a nice little rhyming children's book for you.
There you go.
Well, I'm taking that. So don't even think about it.
I can barely write a sentence, so the chances of me writing a book is not going to happen. So go for it.
So that was Sky, right? Or was that Cry or Pie? Or Sky with Pie? Which one did Brian?
That was cry.
Okay, it flowed really well. That's all.
Yeah,
I'll be doing that when you make your first million off my children's book idea. I'll be crying.
I'll be doing this one. Check it out.
And we'll get you back on the podcast to promote it. And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Chris can do that one.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Remember, if you are an author, reach out thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. We're happy to have you on. Stories_podcast on Instagram. We're mostly active there. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks so much,
See you next
guys.
time.
You rock on.